Hello there YouTube, this is Mikhail or Michael speaking, and today I want to touch on some changes on the battlefield and overall what is going on in Ukraine. Where I live, it is Friday, February 24, 2023. In Ukraine, however, it is February of 25th. We will start with Bakhmut, as it is the most hottest spot on the map at this point, and here I will show you some changes. So this is today and this is yesterday. As you can see, there are no changes in this sector. Russians are not attacking towards this way and Ivanovsky, but there are some reports that Russians are still fighting along this forest and hills right here. Here you can see these three hills, so no surprise Russians are having a hard time attacking this direction. North of Bakhmut we can see some changes once again. It would seem that Russia had consolidated its forces and are finally started to push consistently. Maybe this is due to the fact that the conflict between leader of Wagner group and Minister of Defense of Russia, Shoigu, has been resolved, and Wagner groups had finally received much needed ammunition and supply. The Russians are pushing this way towards the edge of the hill here. If we go a topography map, we can see where exactly this hill is. So Russians are going this way, and this is the edge of the hill. Dubova-Vasilivka is located in the valley, and if Russians were to establish control over this whole hill, they will overlook Dubova-Vasilivka and Ukrainian positions on this hill. So I'm sure Ukrainians are having positions here, which overlooks this axis, this Russian attack, and potential attack right here. And if Russians were to establish control over these two hills, they would make it easier for Russian troops to attack along the railroad, to capture Bogdanivka, and cut off the road here. Not to say that the more Russians are advancing on this side of the hill, they will have a better look at whatever Ukrainians are having inside the city. So it would ease Russian advancements on this axis. As you can see by the changes on the map, Russians had captured last remaining sectors of this town, and they are coming very close to Bakhmut itself. Here you can see that Russians have captured few more blocks. There are reports that Ukrainians are surely retreating to the other side of Bakhmutka River, leaving this part of the city to the Russians. Overall situation in Bakhmut looks very grim to Ukrainians. I don't believe they will be able to save this situation. Once again, I have to emphasize that Bakhmut is basically a city fortress that is in the way of Russian troops towards Kramatorsk and Slavyansk, which are, first of all, much bigger cities and basically capitals of their own regions. So by taking Bakhmut itself, Russia will have a free roam inside this whole region. Russians are also attacking from the south, but as you can see, there are no changes on the map. Overall, Russians are having major success, and we will see what will happen in the next day. I would assume their advance will continue. They will probably stop attacking on this axis. As you can see, they are sort of spearheaded through the railroad. I would assume it's the railroad that is located on the low ground, which makes it easier for troops to pass safely. So they will stop attacking here, attack here and here to even overall front line like they did previously, and once again resume their attack. This is what I mean. See how they have spearheaded, stopped for some time, widened their flank, stopped, attacked, widened their flank, stopped, once again widened their flank, stopped, and once again they had spearheaded. So logical conclusion is they will attack and capture some land from both flanks and will continue on towards the hill that is located here. I think they will use this railroad to walk on this hill and go and do something about it. Once again, attacking this hill head on would be suicidal. That's why Russians are using this railroad. Hey, if you enjoyed my video so far, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting, as again, it is really good for algorithms, and it will overall push my videos and show it to more people, and it would be great. It would be awesome. Thank you in advance. Thank you all who already subscribed, liked, and commented my channel. Just know that you are the best and I love you very, very much. Let's continue. So we're done with Bakhmut and we will go further south to Avdiivka. Here are some changes. Let's touch the changes on the north of Avdiivka first. As you can see, Russia had made big progress. They almost enveloped Vesely and came extremely close to Krasnokharivka village. It's funny because a few videos ago I said that Russians will be much more successful on this axis than in the south because of very open grounds. On the contrary, this is not the case here. So Russians having much more success attacking slowly but surely. If we go to a topography map, we can see that this area is extremely hilly and Russians are surprisingly attacking on them. However, this is an open field and Russians are having problems with it. This can only tell that Russians had gained valuable experience attacking on the hills. As you can see, Krasnokharivka is also located somewhere in the valley. Here's the hills right here. And I would assume Russians will first go a bit around, once again endangering whatever positions Ukraine have in the village itself, forcing them to retreat. They might retreat to the railroad right here to use it as a natural defense. So I think in a few days Krasnokharivka and Vesely would be completely captured. They are also advancing towards village of Kamyanka. Once again, you can see the changes close here. Basically, Russians are attacking along the road. Not only it can be used for tanks and armored vehicles, but also as a natural defense. So you can see Russians are creeping very, very close. With the fall of Kamyanka, Russians will able to attack in this direction and reach this river right here. Once again, securing their flanks. This river right here will serve as a natural defense. So Russians will be able to use more soldiers on a specific axis, and that will add to its effectiveness and possibility of breakthrough. As you can see, there are no changes when it comes to the east of Avdiivka. Once again, Russians are having a hard time attacking and Ukrainians are defending strong. Russians are unable to pass this field to capture Severne, just as they are unable to capture Pervomaisky. There are heavy fighting on this axis, and Ukrainians are successfully repelling Russian attacks. As you can see, Russians had achieved some gains here. You can see the changes on the map. If we go to a topography map, we can see a slight hill. So I assume this would be a high ground, and this is the low ground. So Russians are trying to attack here from the low ground to a high ground, because again, whatever Ukrainians have on the high ground would overlook Russian attacks towards Nevelsky. So I would assume Russians will attack this way to establish more control over the high ground, and only then will attack Nevelsky village itself. Or overall this direction, because as you can see, an open field, a high ground, and a settlement. So attacking this way without capturing all of this would be somewhat suicidal. After Avdiivka, further to the south, we have another hot spot on the map. It is Mariinka. Here are changes on the map. As you can see, Russians had not achieved any gains when it comes to flank attacks. Russians are not getting close to the village of Pobieda. They're not getting close to capturing this city sector here. But Russians had achieved some success in the Mariinka itself. They are probably now controlling maybe 50-55% of Mariinka city. And I think Ukrainians will soon need to think about retreat, because Russian flank is looming over them, as you can see, and it's not good to expose your flank. So I think the fate of Mariinka lies within this city blocks right here, because if Russia were to capture them, Ukrainian flank will be completely exposed. Not necessarily in the city itself, but if they have to retreat, they will have to retreat along those roads. And if Russians were to control this side of the river, they would easily destroy whatever is going on this road right here. As you can see, they are almost unable to use this road as well, because Russians had captured the intersection here. So this is the only road for whatever armor Ukrainians have. Infantry can retreat on the fields, pretty easily, but armor and vehicles have to retreat on the roads. So overall, there is a positive change for Russia in the Marinka front. After a long month of fighting, the victory is in reach, but overall we'll have to see, because Ukrainians can develop more troops to this front. However, I believe they have troubles almost everywhere where Russia is attacking. Further south we see Vuhledar. There are no changes on the map. Russia is still recovering from the, I would say, tactical defeat they had suffered on this region. They have retreated back to Pavlivka to hold this river. To the west of Vuhledar, there are some Russian advancements again towards Novodanilovka, but as you can see, there are no changes. I have to say it once again, Russians are doing a probing attack basically. They are probably trying to reach this road right here and go even further. This road right here can be used to advance towards Novodanilovka, and they almost captured this road, so again, good way to attack towards Novodanilovka. I think if Russia would develop more troops on this axis, they would capture Novodanilovka and Mala Takmachaka fairly quick. You can see that Russians are close to Bilohiria village, but again, there's no arrow, so I'm not sure if Russians are attacking on this axis. And just quick reminder, there are no changes on Seversk and Liman front. Literally almost no changes. Here's a little one. Russia had captured a small portion of the road and are advancing towards this village. Now you can see that this village is the only one that is covered in Seversk. Seversk is not that big of a city, but I'm afraid that if Russia will develop too many troops and actually, capture or come near or close to Seversk, they will expose their flanks extremely to Ukrainian counterattacks. So they need to attack simultaneously from this front as well, and maybe here. Anyway, this is the end of the video. If you had watched till the end, I want to thank you very, very much. Just remember that you are the best. Hope you have a good day, and always remember, Russia will be free.